Okay, everybody, welcome back to my YouTube channel. This is the Jordan Report, and I am your host, Robert Jordan. Everyone, please remember to like, subscribe, and share. Okay, guys, since Joe Biden is the new nominee, or presumptive nominee of the Democratic Party, it is time for us to go back into history a little bit, figure out where old Joe comes from. And we could also explain a little bit of how Joe's obvious mental deterioration is happening right before our eyes. A lot of people don't know that Joe had brain surgery some time ago. It's an old story. It's been around a long time. I knew about it. The reasons for the surgery are being stated a little differently, but this story's been around quite a while. This goes back, this is June 5th, 2013. Now, I'm going to show you the clip of him talking about his surgery, but I'm going to go over the article really fast. Flashback, brain surgeon told Biden he had less than 50% chance of being completely normal. Again, this is 2013 in June. Speaking at the White House National Conference on Mental Health on Monday, Vice President Joe Biden told a sometimes serious and sometimes jocular story about two brain surgery he needed in 1988 to deal with cranial aneurysms. Biden told the White House audience, "They take a saw and they cut your head off. And they literally had to take the top of my head off." He also recounted that he was being wheeled into surgery. As he was being wheeled into surgery, he asked the neurosurgeon, "What are my chances of getting off this table completely normal?" The surgeon told Biden he had a better chance of living and that chance was 35 to 50%. Now, see, that'll explain a lot of what we're seeing today. This guy went through some heavy-duty brain surgery, and that explains a lot of the deterioration that we're seeing right before our eyes. The only totally uncharted portion of the universe is the brain, Biden said at the White House speech. I'm going to show you that clip in 1 second. You know, as we used to say in the Senate, excuse the point of personal privilege here, I had two cranial aneurysms, and they literally had to take the top of my head off. I mean, they take a saw and they cut the top of your head off and go to find an artery that is one is leaking, the other that hadn't before it burst. Those of you who are docs know every profession has a sick joke, Biden said. The joke among docs is, how do you know someone had cranial aneurysm? On the autopsy table. Only 20% of the people have it even get to the table. Okay, I'm going to show you him talking. This is going to be a really quick report, and then we're going to get out of here. This is only 4 minutes, so we're going to get through this really fast.
The only totally uncharted portion of the universe is the brain. You know, I had, as we used to say in the Senate, excuse the point of personal privilege here. I had two cranial aneurysms, and they literally had to take the top of my head off. I mean, they take a saw and they cut your head off and go in to find the artery that is, one was leaking, the other that hadn't before it burst. There's this, those of you docs know there's every profession has their sick jokes. The joke among docs is, how do you know someone's had a cranial aneurysm? On the autopsy table. Only 20% of the people have it even get to the table. Well, one of the fascinating things is, the second operation after the first one, which was a bleed, and they gave me a relatively low chance of surviving. I remember going down to the doc, asking the doc, and you know, you're counting the ceiling tiles and you're heading into the operating room. A lot of you have been there. And I said, "Doc, what are my chances?" I had two great neurosurgeons. And I'll never forget, I will not mention his name, he's one of the leading neurosurgeons in the world. He said, "Senator, for mortality or morbidity?" And I'm thinking, I swear to God, true story. I'm thinking, oh, geez, you know, well, I said, let me put it this way. It was a long road to the operating room. I said, sister, absolutely true story. I said, what are my chances of getting off this table and being completely normal? He said, well, your chances of living are a lot better. And I said, okay, what are they? He said, well, they're in the 35 to 50% range. And I thought, well, seriously, I was a born optimist. I said, well, hell, that means 35 out of 100, 50 out of 100 make it. I might as well be the one. I said, what's the most likely thing that will happen if I live? But what? He said, well, the side of the brain that the first aneurysm is on controls your ability to speak. And I thought, why in the hell didn't they tell me this before the '88 campaign? It could have saved us all a lot of trouble. You know what I mean?
That's not funny today, is it?
Now I'm going down the second operation, 4 months later. And because I was on the other side of my head. And this is not about me, but it's about the truth. They put together the same crew. As you know, they always want the same anesthesiologist, the same team if they've done an operation on you. And so there was a great guy named Dr. Hart, military. He had been transferred from Reed down to Texas. And they brought him back, and he's the anesthesiologist, and I'm going down. Now, this operation I had a 98% chance because it hadn't bled at all. They told me this was going to be. And so trying to make me feel better, the doc, kidding the neurosurgeon, looked at me and he said, looked down at me and said, Senator, do you know why neurosurgeons have the biggest egos in medicine? I said, no, I don't know. He said, who in the hell else would go into the brain with such confidence knowing as little as they know about it?
Okay? That's what Biden went through. In my opinion, Biden is unqualified just on this alone, not just everything else that he's been through and done, but just on this alone makes him unqualified to be the president of this country.